on 16%. I'm not going to be on here long. I just want to speak something real quick. You know, I see people talking about the mass deportations. I see what's going on with this whole ICE thing. But at the end of it, I'm noticing that the children are being taken. Something's not adding up. Um, Stuff is not adding up right for me. But it's like I never seen a celebration. How you doing? What's going on, Tim? I never seen a celebration on how people are celebrating on this mass deportation when, in all actuality, if anybody really knew the history of what happened with Mexico and us as melanated people, so-called black people, we went down there too, and they kept us away from going into so-called slavery. Um, I stepped back and I watched the celebration of others just being ignorant to the fact, and it shows me how low vibrational a lot of us are, wanting to separate from so much when all we had to do is hold our own accord as a people and just do what we have to do in our own way instead of now celebrating for others' fall. We're also being ignorant, and that is not us. That's not how the way we are as a people. What we should do is focus on us like we should have done, because we're no better than the so-called white supremacists if we think about it, because we're being ignorant. Yeah, we've been crapped on by other nationalities, but that's when we supposed to came together from day one and said, okay, not in our house, let's do what we got to do. And I don't understand or understand why would we want to be ignorant like our counterparts when in actuality we need to do a whole reality check on studying about our story, not his story, but our story. Because when we start studying our story, we'll start finding out a lot of loopholes. Yeah, I thought about that too. What about the adrenochrome, Tim? You know what I mean? I've been thinking about that too now. I've been thinking about this whole adrenochrome thing with them kids. See, nobody not talking about that. I'm looking at the babies, man. I'm looking at the babies at the end. We are all adults, older adults, you know what I'm saying? But the babies at the end are suffering, not us all the time. We gotta look at the future. We need to really look at the future here. And I think it's kind of funny they're just going after a lot of Latinos, you know what I mean? I just think it's funny. Not in a good way, but in a bad way, because I think it's interesting because they melanated too. See, nobody not at that. They And then they going after a lot of so-called African immigrants. You know, it's just thoughts that I'll be looking at. I'm looking at the children too. See, I look at the babies more than anything. Something's just not adding up right now. That's why I sit back and I watch the ignorance of many people. You know what I'm saying? And it bothers me because here we go. We're going through this whole thing when they said that homeboy pretty much lifted the whole segregation and all of that, right? In federal buildings and I think what businesses, whatever it is. And I'm like, yo, at the end of the day, at the end of the day, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? See, people say, oh, we're not going to, no, we shouldn't have to much as a people. Those days are over with. Those days are over with. But I'm looking at the babies at the end. Who's suffering the most? The babies, the children. The children are suffering, not just the adults. How you doing? Fire alarms are awesome. The children are suffering at the end. It's not just the adults. The future. You know, nothing is talking about, this whole mass deportation, how certain people are being ignorant and they're not looking at what's going on with the children. They're taking the children away. And the children not going with their parents. Y'all not, I mean, I'm not saying y'all, but a lot of people ain't looking at that. We got to wake up on that. Years ago, when I was on another channel and we was talking about Nasara Jasara and on so-called black YouTube, it woke up a lot of black YouTubers on that. And we start talking about nationality. We start talking about claiming back our nationality, claiming back who we are. That's good that you're good, family. And we talked about adrenochrome and all of that. But now we're seeing that the children are being taken from their parents. And they're being taken from their parents, but the children not uniting with them. Excuse me, or they might be taking the elders or something of that nature. The women. I mean, we got to get all of this. And a lot of them going into Guantanamo Bay from what me and my beloved was talking about. He was like, "Yo, the freak is going on." But it's just little thoughts that I be thinking about because we need to really think about this stuff. Like for real. The babies are the ones that suffering at the end of the day, and nobody not looking at that. But Tim, you had a good point. What if they're making the kids soldiers? I've been hearing rumbling, right? Exactly. Yeah. I mean, the ones I came in contact with, they out here where I'm at, they call me brother. They call me brother. You know what I'm saying? I met brothers. I met them. They call me brother. Like I know everybody's experiences are different, but out here where I'm at in Baltimore, there's a restaurant that I go to, a store restaurant. It's a store and it's a restaurant and a store. And the lady's nephew from California, and he's Mexican. He said, "Hey brother, how you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, what's up?" He's like, "Bro, we one of the same on this, bro." He was like, "People don't know the struggles that we all went through," and I'm like, "Yeah, you know." But at the end of it, I look at it like this: I'm a spiritual being living a human experience. Yeah, exactly. But you know what though, brother Tim? I'm gonna share something with you because you're using the heart chakra, brother. You're using your heart chakra. You're using divine love. Because honestly, all of us, all of us, so-called minorities, are victims of so-called white supremacy or so-called white ideology. You know what I'm saying? Or may I say, white delusional, white delusional mindsets. And the word white, I use that loosely because the word white is a status. You get what I'm saying? So when I look at this, I look at it from a standpoint. Let's say it like that, a standpoint of how everybody's a victim of this, and it wasn't the start of those that we consider or call white or Caucasian. It was the higher class that had moolah, money. They started this. The higher ups, or may I say, the elite started this, the separation as well, because they brought forth the whole agenda, and they still bringing the agenda because that's their mindset: separation at all costs. The poor get poor, the richer get richer. That's how the minds are. That's how they way they work. But I look at the children at the end of the day, from the via music, all of this stuff, and it's not fair to them because why? The adults are not stepping up to be the real adults and be the real leaders, and the men also in our community need to really step up and be who we really supposed to be. Honestly, because in all actuality, you can't say you're a god and goddess and you ain't doing nothing for the community like that, and you're not even trying to put forth the effort to change anything. You can change with your children first. If you have children, you start with them first, and then you guide them, and then and then they start waking up children in their age bracket. It starts at home. We all can make a difference. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying, oh, it's no coalition. Listen, nobody not saying coalitions. At the end of the day, it's about those that are in power that are making the rules. Let that sink in. It's about those that are in power that are making the rules. The ones that are the elite, so-called elite, are making the rules. See, nobody don't know this whole global reset thing is bigger than what people think it is. The whole global reset was a reset to jumpstart what they wanted to do. You got to remember, and my godfather, who Been studying Nasara Jasara for the past 20 years. He brought it to yours truly attention. And my household, we brought it to the brother who stayed his attention, who had his own channel, that is talking about Nasara Jasara right now. It was my godfather that was the one that led the way, and we decided to do that. But nobody's not understanding was about was was down the pipe. Nobody don't want to talk about BRICS too much. Nobody don't want to talk about the RDFI chip that they still trying to implement in people. Nobody's not talking about that. Nobody's not talking about how the cabal is haven't really fallen yet because it's legions of them. And if you ever saw the movie Legion, you'll get what I mean about that. It's legions of them. But we're living in a world where people don't understand what is going on. So it's like, it's deeper than what people are saying. This is why I said we need to go back into our spiritual practices and focus on building up our communities, building up ourselves, building up our businesses, support one another. They had the Black Girl Follow train on TikTok. I think the men need to make their own now. And then the women and the men come together and make their own train together to work as unison. If that make any sense, and then I guarantee everybody else will follow up. We got to remember we are the leaders, the mothers and fathers of civilization, and we are here to what? Make the world a better place. We have that power. We have that power. Listen, everybody have a spark of the creator in them, but those that are melanated, you are gifted with the gift and power of creating and leading. You created these civilizations. Now it's your turn. Because now the world is looking to you to lead the way, know it or not. And it's time for you to get out that slumber from being a sleeping giant to finally becoming the giant that you once were in the past. And stop getting caught up in the BS. Because everybody's looking at you leading the way now. Everybody. You the most hated and loved at the same time. Because everybody look to you to lead the way. And guess what? You can still lead the way. You don't have to go into these marches anymore. But at the end of the day, start studying and researching about what's really going on and stop listening to everybody that's trying to say their own perspective all the time. You have your own perspective. All many people on YouTube try to do, many, I ain't saying all, try to get you to think and try to have you do your research. A lot of us not on here for your entertainment. I mean, I did this channel because I want everybody to know what time it is on a spiritual level, but also not get caught up in politics or politricks. Because that's what it is, polytricks. Poly means more than one, and you have tricks. Tricks are for kids, illusions, all of that. The penal system itself is a big part of the illusion, where they tell you that you're black, that you're white, that you're Hispanic, that you're Chinese or Asian, whatever, Korean. Listen, we're living in a world where people gain money from wars. They gain money from human trafficking. They gain money from organ harvesting. And I want people to know that the amount of melanin that you have in you, the more rich your organs are. The more rich your organs are, and more they're worth, and they're worth more on the black market. Nobody's not talking about that all the time. The black market. Wake up. Beloveds, wake up. You've been in a deep sleep too damn long. And many of us are keep on going to these mosques and these pastors, and there a lot of them not talking about this stuff. In these churches, these imams, they not talking about this. How the rabbis, a lot of them ain't talking about this. Those are the Hebrew Israelites, your priests, a lot of them are not talking about this stuff. Because a lot of them took an oath that they ain't telling you. We're living in that kind of world of secrecy. We're living in a world of secrecy, and nobody don't want to talk about the secrecy that goes on behind the scenes because they don't want to lose their money, because everything is based upon money, currency, that green dollar, that fiat. That's not just in this country, but in other countries. That's what they're focused on. That's greed. The first thing they say, I gotta feed my family, or they just can't get enough of that fiat, or they can't get enough of that currency because they want the power. The power is within you and here. But yet we constantly are falling for the okie dokes and the tricks of these people want to portray hatred and separation all the time. When in actuality, the people that are causing this are the people that have all the money and power and that are actually being ran by certain families. And I ain't talking about the ones that y'all think. A lot of those families that are the original families look like this complexion, that are really the rulers of everything. You had Rod Hayes said, many others said it. The United States are not really owned by the Queen and all of them of England and all of that. People don't even know that it's actually a Moor that really owns the United States, and they're not saying anything. Real talk. That's why I tell people listen to A Sea of the Duke of Tears. I try to tell people listen to Bobby Hemmett, to like a lot of his stuff when it come down to book knowledge and everything. I tell anybody listen to Dr. Claude Anderson, Dr. Henry Clark, Dr. Phil Valentine, Dr. James Amos, or yeah, Amos. Uh, there's many others that Dr. Ben Yakid, and I'm naming people that you can listen to educate yourselves, to do the research, the cross-referencing, to find out certain things. Not these debating scenes anymore. That stuff is old. It's time to really start studying. Chandler Williams, The Destruction of African Civilization. I think that's the name of the book. It's time, and that brother passed away years ago. See, I'm not just talking for so-called black people. I'm talking for the whole human race here. Everybody need to educate themselves now. Everybody. And they need to pay homage to the ones that paved the way. And we were the ones that paved the way for so many people. And if it wasn't for us, this country wouldn't be where it's at today. And I mean what I say, and I say what I mean. I keep telling everybody, first come to first, my people come first, and worst come to worst, my people come first. But I'm also for the whole entire human race, period. But right is right and wrong is wrong. We have to acknowledge. That's why I want people to know I'm being so honest when I say what I say. But at the end of it all, with this whole separation thing, back to that, the whole thing dealing with the whole mass deportation, I understand how people, that's all dealing with tribalism, and that's also dealing with the agenda of so-called white supremacy, so-called white ideology. That's why they act the way they act towards us and many others, and they act like that towards each other too. is not a race thing. It is the have and have nots at the end of the day. They don't want you to get your power back, because when you get your power back, and I'm talking to the so-called black people in the United States of America, when you claim your power back and you do what you got to do as a people and wake up and realize the power that you really do have, everybody in the world going to stop and realize that, damn, these are the ones that we need to be listening to. How once a mighty people still mighty but don't know their power? Let that marinate. Yet everybody can love and hate you at the same time. The reason for the love and hate is because you are so mighty and powerful that you don't even know your damn power, and it's really messing you up in the process. And everybody's waiting for you to lead the way, know it or not. You are truly not just a trendsetter, you are the foundation. And everybody know it. You are the hidden secret. The cosmos is the same complexion of your skin complexion. And I hate to put that out there, but I feel like somebody needs to hear it. I don't care what anybody say. But at the end of the day, I show love to every nationality. And the only reason why a lot of so-called Mexicans don't like us is because of them being told, stay away from them. Same thing like our brothers and sisters from Africa. Stay away from them. Stay away from them. Nobody don't want to talk about that. But when they start realizing, like, damn, they not bad people. See, I look at the children at the end of all of this that's going on. I look at the babies, man. The babies means a lot to me. Because when we're no longer here, those children are going to grow up to be adults. And what we're going to do, keep on spreading this disease, or this ease. That's what the word disease means, dis-ease. I don't care if anybody like what I say. I don't care anymore. But I built this channel not to speak from my heart and my mind, but I want to share it, so I want to know what y'all all think. Brother Tim, I want to say thank you for saying what you had to say too. If you're still watching, those that are still, I'm hoping y'all still watching. I want to let y'all know I love all of y'all. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, I just want to know how y'all feel, because at the end of the day, the babies are suffering, not us, not just us. The children are suffering. When it come down to them babies being separated from their parents, nobody don't even realize that them babies don't even go back to reunite with their parents. They still have them captive in prisons or whatever they have them at. And nobody ain't talking about this. I was looking at a video and it said that they gotta get the ICE gotta get their information, gotta get their okay from the court system, and a lot of them didn't get the okay from the court system, so it's being done illegally. So you gotta ask yourself, who's doing this? Gotta ask yourself, who is doing this? Who's leading the way on that? Remember, I said they are these beings, or these people are still, there are legions of them. See, nobody's not talking about that. There are legions of them. Legions, like the movie Legion. I recommend people go back and watch that movie Legion, so you can see what I'm talking about, and look up the word Legion. Because if you look at the word religion, you have religion. So start looking at that too. Y'all need to start looking at the etymology of words now. Start looking at all that stuff, because it's not what people thinking now. It's like, we really need to start looking at the etymology of words, and also start learning the Black Laws Dictionary, and start realizing who and what is a real American. In the Black Laws Dictionary, I think edition, the fourth edition or fifth edition, it said that the American An American pretty much is a copper colored person. Copper colored. We need to start realizing what time it is. Y'all gotta realize we created the Spanish language too. No, it or not. That was I'll give Tariq Nasheed credit for that on the Hidden Colors. The whole Spanish language, we created all of those languages, man. We created a lot of these languages. Like people don't know we created the Russian language. We created the French language. A lot of people don't even want to talk about that. That's how deep this is. But we had to realize our power, and we had to realize that the babies are the ones that's suffering at the end of all of it. The babies. And it's sad. It's a sad situation that we're living in because I never seen a separation of so much, and I'm seeing that the people that have power are still winning. But yet, the Constitution said we the people. Maybe I'm talking too much. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. Maybe I'm just in a mindset of just like, oh well, whatever. Maybe I don't know what I'm saying. And I agree with Tim on that. He said I hate it for the kids, but I understand we supposed to lead with love because we're naturally loving. But from my experience, Mexicans for the most part they hate us, bro. And I believe that. I feel you, and I understand it. And I see a lot of that too. I understand, bro. I chose not to hate. It get hard, and I'm with you on that. And Tim, I know it gets hard, but you're using your heart chakra because you are the better person. That's what make you unique. That's what make you godly. That's what make you who you are. That makes you a humanitarian. When you don't have that hate in your heart, it shows you're humanitarian. It shows that you have humility towards others. Why? Because it's in your DNA. It's embedded in your DNA. Point blank. Period. Our people, love is embedded in our DNA towards other nationalities, other people. But a lot of time when it come down to us, we hate our own selves. And self-hate in our community is very real, just like it is in the Latin community. There's a lot of hatred in the Latin community too. They don't talk, they talking about it even more now. That's why I said everybody have went through the suffering of so-called white ideology and white supremacy. We gotta keep that in mind. Point blank period. Let's be realistic about everything. Point period. Let's just be realistic. Because out of all of this, we gotta look at the culture of it. Because the culture brought a lot of ish out of it. Grape, robbing, stealing, human trafficking, stealing ideas and taking credit for it. Rewriting so-called history. Having it seem like somebody that's palm colored is better. It died, so I'm back on here. But that's what I was saying. Like we gotta go ahead. But I want everybody to know that I'm real. I'm a human. But when I get caught up in my talks, either they buffer me or my phone just cut off for some reason. But it's not because it was always charged. Sometimes it just take me off YouTube. But let's really look at things from a realistic perspective now. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I love all of y'all, but it's like I just choose to just think from another perspective. You know. But on that note, I just feel like, and I said it earlier. I said whatever was ever going on in the spiritual is affecting the physical. If only everybody knew what was really going on, I can tell you that it's a war going on spiritually. It is spiritual warfare, and many of us are not fully awakened yet. We're still waiting for a sky dad to come save us from everything, and that's not going to happen. We're waiting for a miracle to happen, and it's not going to happen. We're living in a fairy tale. Many of us living in a fairy tale, and it's not going to happen that way. And that's the deep sleep that we're in. So I think we need to really wake up for real, because it's not a good look for us as a people, and not just us as a people, but the whole entire planet. For the kingdom of heaven is within you. Just saying. So look at that. But a lot of us not looking at that. So it's all about just us or justice or just us. But we gotta realize that. But on that note, y'all, I'm gonna sit here and just get some thoughts together. I'll probably come back on here later if y'all want me to, and just talk whatever y'all want me to talk about. That's why I said, like, I will put my email in the comment section if y'all want me. Y'all just tell me what y'all want to talk about, and I'll do it. It's just right now, just in my thoughts right now. It bothers me because I'm one of the ones that want to see the world be a better place, and I see the potential of it. The issue that we have is people that's in power that don't belong in that power, that abuse it, and they have all these resources and money, and they don't care about the livelihood of others. Not just us as a people, but many other nationalities, many other nations. It's like it's not fair to them. It bothers me because also the children suffer. At the end of the day, the children suffer. But on that note, I will talk to y'all later. Love, peace, light, darkness, supreme balancement to the universe. I love you all. Peace.